Okay, I'm going to demonstrate a simple program using 2 inputs, 3 outputs, and a counter. So start a new file and select the processor that we have, which is Micrologix 1100 Series B. And I find it easiest to define my inputs and outputs before programming. You can do it while you program, but it's just more organized this way. So we're going to put those in. And our first input is connected to input 0, and that is the green button. And the other input we're going to use is the emergency push button, and that's connected to input 3. Okay, and then for our outputs, the first one at output 0 is the red light. At output 1, we have the yellow light. And at output 2, we have the green light. Okay. So we're going to start here on the first rung, and we're going to have our green push button as the first input, and the green push button is normally open, so we're going to use this examine if closed, and you can just type first letter of whatever you defined it as. And we're also going to use this examine if closed for the emergency because it's normally open. So if emergency is pressed, we don't want this to function the way that we're making it right now. So we're going to turn a counter on as our output, and we're going to use the count up. We're going to preset it to 2. So whenever the count reaches 2, it will be considered done, and accumulation at 0. Next, we're going to have that counter as our input. And we're going to make it the count up input. So whenever the first button is pressed, it'll start counting, and that will energize this output. So let's add the emergency, and we're going to turn the yellow light on and it starts counting. And we want the yellow light to stay on, so we're going to latch it over here. All right, and our next input is going to be the count done. So whenever the accumulation reaches this preset, so count emergency, and we're going to say that when the count is done, the green light will turn on. And when the green light turns on, we want the yellow light to turn off. So we're going to unlatch the yellow light. And we want the green light to stay on. So we're going to latch that here. And finally, we're going to say that if the emergency button is pushed, that none of these can be true anymore. So we're going to use examine if open. And with that, we're going to turn the red light on. And we also want to reset the counter when the emergency button is pushed. So go here, reset, counter. Well, we have to latch it, so. All right, and that should be it. It automatically ends for you, so you don't have to worry about that when using this program. And then I will show you a demonstration of the trainer following this program. So in order to upload your program to the PLC, you need to open up RSLOGIX, select communications, and then configure drivers. And we're going to select this RS232 DF1 devices. And I'm just going to leave it named this way because it doesn't really matter. And we're connected to COM4 from the USB at the PLC. And we're going to hit auto configure. And it's successful. So we can close out of here and go back to RSLOGIX and select comms, system comms. And this is our workstation. So we're going to select, let's see. And now we're online.
Okay, so when you press the green button once, the yellow light will turn on. Press it again, yellow light turns off, green light turns on. And when the emergency is pushed, the red light turns on. Untouch the emergency and the counter resets.